in terms of the price, I agree with what Hex Girl said right there. Actually, I'll just let you go Ewok first. So you think that we're going to see like a 10x right off of a positive decision. So yeah, I'll hear your
I do.
rationale.
I think there are enough people on the sidelines that are concerned about this. I think there are some major investors out there that are concerned about this. I think there are exchanges that won't list this stuff because of this. So all of those things combined, and I don't know that, are we talking overnight? Are we talking with? I think it happens within a month. I think within a month of a decision, we can easily 10x. Now, does that include certain wallets buying their own token? Who knows? Maybe that could be the celebratory pop of the champagne bottle. You know what I mean? Who knows? But I think there is a strong possibility that we would do a 10x within 30 days of a decision, a positive decision, based on all of those things: the money on the sidelines, the exchanges that would possibly list it. There are major investors out there waiting that have money, that have capital, that just they're afraid right now. They're not as deep in it as we are. They don't understand that this really doesn't matter, but it does to them if they've got accredited investors or whatever. They're not going to touch something that the SEC is looking into until there's a decision made. So that's what I think. I think within 30 days, I'm being so DGen Moonboy said probably more than 10x. I'm being very cautious with that prediction.
So your 10x is actually conservative.
Yes, I'm being conservative with that.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, I mean, honestly, us having this conversation now versus like 4 months ago is a lot different because now we're at the low again. So, I mean, that is one thing.
And I forgot this point too. Hex Girl, thank you very much. Again, RH streaming. If he comes back to streaming, dude, immediately.
That's different. Yeah, I agree.
Well, how's it? I don't know.
No, I think it's better. I'm saying. I mean, like, yeah,
right.
Maybe they happen in tandem or whatever, but I would give a lot more credibility to RH streaming and being interviewed or just doing a solo stream or whatever than I would just a simple victory over the SEC.
I think these all tie in together, though. So,
in a way, I think they do. But okay, so here's what I want to say. They're clearly related. So I think more like a 2x within a day if we would get a victory over the SEC. I think there would be obviously massive pump right off of it. I think we would 2x instantly pretty much right away. A couple of things you said there did get me to bend a little bit because you're saying that this is a unique ecosystem. Like I can't just compare it straight up to XRP beating the SEC because XRP literally has the CEOs selling shit tons of the token on their investors' heads. I mean, like they're horrible. They're caught in a trap over there. We don't have that. So that is good. And I think you're right too. I think there are a lot of people on the sidelines that have a lot of money to spend. They're staying quiet. I don't agree with you at all on the exchange thing. Like, oh, maybe the exchanges aren't putting us on because of the SEC. Half of them are embroiled in bullshit lawsuits with the SEC too. I think it's more so just that like, well, it's Richard Hart and they're out there doing their weird little DeFi thing. And we're not really into that. I think that they just don't care, frankly, about us. And it's all like Richard Hart's out lobbying to get their tokens listed or anything like that.
Right.
I definitely don't think we're going to see a 10x in like a matter of days. I can't see that happening. I think there would be like an instant 2x. But my whole point is, and it's exactly what Hex Girl alluded to a moment ago, nobody gives the SEC any credibility. I'm sure that you're correct that there are big buyers on the sidelines that are like, oh man, if I get clarity on this, I'd love to launch, a couple million in or something like that. I'm sure you're right about that. But I don't think it's as much as you're alluding to. I just think that not many people really do take the SEC that seriously. They don't win any of these lawsuits. And to me, if your presumption is like, with the defeat of the SEC, we would do a 10x. And again, I think there's literally a 0% chance of this happening. But if somehow the SEC triumphantly won that lawsuit and was proved correct and all these things and magically educated themselves on crypto and DeFi and all these things, what would that mean? What? Tell me if a win means a 10x in a few days, what would a loss mean? The total destruction of the ecosystem? I mean, because to me, no. Like, yes, it doesn't matter. I don't give a shit about this, and I don't think the SEC really has any credibility or anybody takes them all that seriously. So that'd be my counter question to you. What's the negative? What's the downside?
A lot more of where we're at now, and very, very sideways. You know, a lot of people are relying on this and this alone for this ecosystem to do well, and I, we can't expect it. We just can't. We can't rely on this to happen. Um, I mean, I know we always say no expectations, but you know, even Axis was when he was in here just a little bit ago. So basically, what Briz is saying is, Ethereum goes to 10 grand. That wallet makes a lot of money, rotates profits right into Pulse Chain, and we go up from there. We're relying on that to pump the bag. We're basically saying that our network's not good enough unless the founder dumps $500 million into it and pumps our bags.
I don't think that's what he's. I don't want to interrupt you. I'll let you finish your point, but I disagree with that.
That's what he's alluding to without saying it. You know, that's
I don't think that he is.
Briz.
Maybe he is.
I'm pretty sure he's the. I've heard him say it. You know, on Maddie's stream too. Yeah, you have to. Well, you want to front run. What he's saying is use this theory to use this theory to onboard people to front run the whales or the whale. The problem with that is the people aren't going to buy until they see green candles. So maybe the whale front runs them. They tag on and pile on to the green candles that are created by the whale. Again, what I'm saying is we can't rely on that. Like, you know, what if it doesn't? What if that money just sits there on the sidelines? People are going to freak out because they all expect that entity to buy and pump the bags so that they can sell. Like, if that were me and I was sitting there with that much money, knowing full well that if I dump all this money into this ecosystem, how many people are going to sell at a 5x, 10x, maybe, and get out, extract the value right away before it can really do a whole lot. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. And I don't want to rely on it. I mean, it's a great story. We all want that bag holder to pump the price. But how likely is it that it happens?
Maybe Briz specifically is alluding to that, but I mean, think of how many different altcoins and different chains and stuff like that out there are dependent upon Ethereum going up. I mean, I understand, yes, like we have an even more specific potential interest in the Ethereum price. I understand that I'm certainly not discounting that, but I'm also saying that like a lot of tokens that are alts rely on Ethereum going up. Not like, oh, the founder has 100 or, you know, a wallet associated with it has 170,000 ETH, but it performing well is going to help the alts. I mean, how many alts have like barely even moved yet because of the fact that Ethereum hasn't even hit all-time highs again yet, you know? Yeah. So I think there's that also. I don't think it is just, oh yeah, I didn't take that comment. Maybe that's what Bruce is saying. I mean, I don't think it's being reliant or depending on something like that. But I do agree with, I actually agree with his second point about like, hey, use that theory to onboard people. I mean, to me, it's kind of like Elon Musk. It's like, here's a guy who's extremely confident. He's confident in his capabilities, the companies that he's making, and he puts his own resources back into it. Last I checked, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, Jeff Bezos, like this is a guy who's a Chad. He's going to put his money back into his ecosystem. Good. I mean, like instead of all these other scammers, they're out there shitting all over their investors, dumping all the money on them. You know, why? Well, you know, go ahead.
Well, and Crypto Stylist, by the way, I caught your stream the other day. Welcome back to streaming. But no, she says we need to have our own plan without the OA. Same thing. We shouldn't expect it. We shouldn't expect the founder to buy back their own coin. Johnny says the same thing. So, you know, my point was a win in the SEC case would be huge. I think that would be enough spark to get things going where we're not relying on that to happen, because I feel like everybody now is just sitting around and waiting. There isn't a whole lot. I mean, some of us are buying little bits and chunks, but I don't see any other whales coming in. I don't see a god whale type entity coming in to do anything, because I think they kind of feel the same way. Every time the price pumps a little bit by one of those wallets, it gets sold right back down. So,
Mhm.
it's hard to be that first one that makes that jump to say, I'm pumping the hell out of this and here we go, and not worry about the people that are just extracting the value. That would be my fear if I had that money and people were relying on me to do it. Because why? Why are you relying on me to pump the bags so you can get out? And
Right.
it's just,
I'm with you on that point. I'm
yeah,
totally with you on that. I agree. Anybody that's like, oh yeah, I'm just waiting around for this to happen. No, I totally agree with you. I guess we're kind of talking about two different things here. We're talking about like ETH's effect, and then we're also talking about the SEC. I personally do not think a victory, a loss, any result from the SEC is going to like severely affect the trajectory of this ecosystem. And I think that is fantastic news, because I don't think they have that kind of power. And it would be horrible if they did have that kind of power. I think that for like a week, we would see insanely bullish action. I agree with you, but I don't think that we'd get like a 10x or something like that. Just like I think there's zero possibility the SEC wins this whole case, like every aspect of it. I don't think there's any chance that that happens.
no,
But
I
if it
don't either.
did, I don't think it really affects the ecosystem that much, because by that time we'd be like deep into a bull market and nobody would give a shit anyway. So yeah, I don't take them seriously, and I don't think the majority of people do. I don't doubt that there's people on the sidelines with a lot of money that would be dependent upon that and to eject their money, but I don't think it's that big a deal anyway.
Yeah. And again, we go back to that time issue here. James B says all heroes come out of tough times. 99% will buy after 1000x. Just take a look at the price of Ethereum or Bitcoin today versus year one. So yeah, I mean, time in the market. Again, we go back to that famous saying, that the time in the market is really what matters. And the ones that are here early and stay here are going to be the ones that reap the most rewards, other than the ones that jump in and out of it trying to time things.